Hey everybody, Jordan Arell here, making my daily video about circumcision. And today I would really like to say something that I'm really excited to say, which is that I believe, I'm sure that circumcision in the United States is going to end very soon. And I hear a lot of different activists and people in the movement saying, I really hope it ends in my lifetime or in 10 years or something like that. I think 2 years is very realistic. I think this year is possible. I think by 2020, I would be surprised if circumcision wasn't at least strongly contested legality-wise at the federal level by 2020 in the U.S., if not made illegal by then. And I think the culture will definitely take a major turn within 2018. And I believe this for a lot of reasons, because some of the events that are happening, like Eric Clapper's play coming out on May 1st in Boston, and very excited to be a integral part of that team. I think because of Brendan Marotta's film American Circumcision coming out, I think because of so much of what I've just seen in the culture of intactivism, of people's attitudes, of the way that people are, we've gotten a momentum going that is so powerful, and the people in this movement are some of the most devoted people that I've ever seen. Often they're people who have been hurt very badly, but a lot of those people at this point have found some degree of healing or another, have found their voice, and are speaking out really loudly, and they won't be silenced, and they're just getting louder. The numbers are just growing. Nobody ever hears about circumcision, learns a lot about it, understands it really well, and then just doesn't care about it or is ever even for it. Everybody who knows a lot about circumcision, who understands the functions of the foreskin, who's really looked into it, well over 95% of people end up being strongly against it, and often become strong advocates against it. And that's becoming more and more popular, that's becoming more and more sexy. It's the way to be, in the same way that it's mainstream right now to be a feminist. Like, it's cool to be a feminist, like to have the feminist values from the original meaning of that term are so integrated into society that you don't even have to call yourself a feminist to believe that women deserve equal wages, deserve to be able to go to school, deserve to have all the same rights, voting rights, all the same things that men have in terms of rights. We believe that women deserve equal rights. And some people, if you ask them if they're a feminist, they won't even say that they're a feminist, and yet that has become so integral to the fabric of our society. And intactivism is going to be the exact same thing, except much stronger. No one in 5 years' time, no one in 20 years' time will think that it's okay to cut the genitals of a child. No one. I should maybe say, there will be some radical fundamentalists, there are some crazy women-hating people who still don't think that women deserve rights, but it's an extremely small amount of people. In the same way, there will be some people who, because of certain aspects of their personality, will always think genital cutting is great. But it's going to be such a small number of people, and it's just going to be pervasive very, very soon. For all those reasons, for the reason that, you know, it's the right side of history to be on, like, so clearly. It's insane that it's 2018 right now, and it is still legal, it's still acceptable, it's still popular to slice into the genitals of a newborn baby boy and cut away what has been scientifically proven. No one can test this. No one can test it. The studies are clear. Anyone can redo them. They're just obvious. And there's many anatomical studies that show the penis is most sensitive in the foreskin. The foreskin is by far more sensitive than any other part of the penis. And you're removing that from an unconsenting minor in an extremely violent, extremely traumatic procedure. It's literally one of the worst things that you can possibly do to a human being, period. It's the exact same thing as female genital mutilation. It's how is that different? Cutting away the clitoris, the most sensitive part of a female's genitalia, versus cutting away the foreskin, which is the most sensitive part of the male's genitalia, without their consent in both cases, without any compelling reason. Zero, none. There are no compelling reasons to do it to either sex. He can do it for himself, she could do it for herself when they're of age. There aren't any health benefits. We've been through this a million times, and doctors keep trying to come up with more to justify it. Look, female genital mutilation, yeah, we have studies that show that it helps prevent HIV. It doesn't fucking matter, because it's wrong. It's so fucking wrong to do that to a human being. There's nothing more wrong. It's amazing that we're still doing this, and it's simply the right side of history. You know, once people start actually thinking about it, once this becomes a mainstream topic of discussion, and it's just about to hit that point, you know, it's like we've been going like this in a straight line, and it's like that curve, we're like right there in the curve, right before it goes straight up. And, you know, in terms of how many people are talking about it, in terms of what the acceptable range of opinions on it are, it's about to completely transform. All the information is out there, there's websites on it, there's so much information, it's so easy to find out about it. And now people like Eric Klopper, people like Brendan Marotta, and so many more are creating high level quality material that it just takes watching that once. It just takes an hour to learn about this. And it's at that point where it's exponential. It's just going to explode overnight. And everybody's going to learn how horrific it is that this has been done to us. That we've done this to our children. And then this is going to end. It's going to end now. It's time. And that's a really good thing, because having the right to your own body, to my own body, there's nothing more important than that. And we don't even realize it because it's so core that when you overlook it, you don't see it as a thing, because it's like, you know, you just think that your body is your body, but you can't really cognize that a piece of it is missing and that it might be important, because you just accept what is here as reality. But the fact is, when you look at it, when you start to actually think about it and understand what has been done, the fact is, it is done to harm our sexuality. It has been done to harm our sexuality throughout history. Only in the 60s, 70s did we change our minds and suddenly, oh yeah, it doesn't affect sexuality at all. And only in the United States, by the way. No one else in the world believes that. It's insane to believe that cutting away half the tissue of the human penis around 90-95% of the nerves. If you look at the most recent studies, or basically data that's unpublished, but even by the much more conservative estimates, it's like 80% of the erogenous tissue of the fine touch nerve endings, pretty much all of the fine touch nerve endings, 80% of the overall nerve endings in the penis. But it's insane. It's just absolute insanity to believe that that doesn't affect sexual pleasure. The way that research studies are done and published is so unbelievably biased, and we blind ourselves to it because we don't want to face the truth. Because doctors don't want to face the truth, because it's really uncomfortable. But it's coming to the surface, and now is the time to face the truth in yourself. And as a society, we need to have these conversations. We need to do the hard act of doing the research ourselves and really looking at it. And when we do that, which again is going to happen really soon, you know what, if none of those things work, I can promise you I'll do it myself. Don't take my word for it. Watch what I do, not what I say, because I will do it myself. I promise you that. It's a simple matter of awareness. It's a simple matter of starting the conversation and getting these materials to people. Because once people see them, there's no going back. And it's so simple. It's so easy. It's simply figuring out how to spread the word about it. And then it's going to be over like that. And I and many other people are going to get on with their lives. And it's going to be very easy to fund foreskin regeneration. You know, it only needs a few $1 million to fund that. That's not that much money in the grand scheme of things. If every circumcised man in the United States alone gave $1 to that cause, that would be $100 million. That's a lot more than we need. And I promise you, once men realize what they're actually missing and understand this, really, a whole generation of men are going to want it back, and they're going to get it back. And hopefully we'll get the government to pay for it. We'll get someone to pay for it, because men shouldn't have to pay to have their own bodies. And when the public opinion does turn, and it will, it's going to be pretty clear that we have been violated in the most profound way possible, and people are only going to speak up about this more and more and more until there is a solution for all men affected, psychologically, emotionally, and physically. A total solution. Doesn't matter if we have to pour billions of dollars into it, we will. I will. Again, you know what, I'll fucking do it myself if no one else does it. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching. I know today was a little bit of an intense video. I'm really excited about this fact, and I want to be the first person to say this on on camera live, you know, because I like to say I told you so, and I know when I'm right. A lot of people often don't believe me when I say things, but when I'm this sure about something, I'm always right. And you know, if it's not this year, if it's not in 2 years, it's impossible for it to be more than 5 years. I can promise you that, no matter what. It won't last more than 5 years. Even if I have to do everything myself and start over from scratch, it's gonna happen now. Circumcision will end. Thanks for watching, guys. Talk to you tomorrow.